Okay, beginning YouTube video, part 1. We're looking at a 9111-520 IBM P520 Power 4, I believe. This machine has been stripped completely of its parts, and I'm going to begin installing other parts back into it slowly since I'm testing them. So I'm going to be going over what I'm doing, even though it's not terribly interesting, but we're going to try to make this as interesting as possible for those in the field at least. These are old, but they're still in use, so this might help somebody. I'm going to go with just the basic motherboard or system backplane, as they call it, installation. And I'm doing sort of a makeshift job here, so I'm going to kind of go over the parts in the order a little bit and then break this into parts as I go. So hopefully that works for everyone. If not, of course, post comments or something along those lines. I'll change how I'm doing this. Okay. I'll be right. I'm moving the view here for a moment. I'll try to get that over. Right. Step back. Here's the baseboard here. Currently, it's got a VRM module, attached here. VRM module is redundant. Got some other voltage modules here. These two are not directly related to the CPU, but they do a bit of regulation on their own anyway. I think this one has something to do with the power sections. Power supplies are on these sides here. So these two slots here, one, not really slots, but close enough. Two are for the power supplies. This slot here for the service processor. These are individual PCI slots. PCI-X's at the bottom here, and then two standard PCI slots here. I think this one is another PCI-X slot. I think a 64-bit, but I'm not entirely sure. These could actually be extended standard PCI slots. Again, I'm not entirely sure. I believe they're all PCI-X. Currently, no memory on the board. Here are the banks here. You can run with up to 2 on the outer banks. It forms one bank. The outer 2 slots form one bank. You're going to use 4. You divide them to the outer channels here. And you'll end up with still one bank, but it'll be interleaved between 2 channels. Better performance there, and so on. This customer asks for these in 4, so that's what I'm going to go for. Now, I'm going to move here to get the memory kits. Our kit is actually one kit. It's 4 sticks. You can run it off of 2. It's not recommended. Okay. Slide these in here. They line up with the outer. I'll get a closer look at these things. Sorry, bad angle there. They line up with these little grooves and these things here. And when you push down, of course, it should make a fairly nice clicking noise. But, of course, this particular one's a little old, so I might be expecting too much out of it. Normally, you don't do this one-handed, but I am recording it. And you can safely do it one-handed if you wanted to, and you wanted to be careful. I would not recommend it. You might want to always make sure these are pressed down on the sides completely. One of these will toast if one of the pins is a little on touching. There you go. The board itself also is attached onto a chassis on the back here, a metal chassis. This makes it a little easier to handle these boards without worrying too much, because they have a built-in circuit ground. I'm sorry, rephrase that, they get built-in earth ground, pardon me. At least to the, once you get the chassis plugged in. In this case, it'll act to reduce problems with static, which are not as big as some people would make them out to be. But I'm going to set the camera back down. One moment to flip out the stop here. Okay, not the best angle, but we're going to work with it. You want to flip the board in this way first, for the most part. And yes, you will collect all sorts of things lightly. This is why you want to be real careful. Until it basically sits relatively down. Now, the board is not completely flipped in, it's still a little out, so I'm going to work on kind of nudging this over just a bit to make it line up. At the end here, you'll see that the board kind of floats a bit until you lock it down, so the screws on the sides kind of, the offset screws on the serial ports here, stuff will bump, so if you have everything lined up here, though, this sets well. You'll notice right about here, I'll back up a bit, down here, over by the CPU's VRM, down here by what you call a cell bridge, I guess. You'll notice one screw hole right here. This will be a purple-headed screw that actually bolts the main board into place. It's not the only thing that will hold the main board in place once you start attaching parts, but for right now, this will be the main lockdown. Line it up, you'll notice it is a thumb screw. It does not need to be tied super tight. Again, other things will help hold the board in place and keep it tied to ground and locked. Take a look here and make sure it's lined up. And that's that. Now, on top of this goes a cage and some other parts. I will update, since I need to use it like this temporarily, I will update when I'm ready to perform the next steps. Hopefully this was educational. I realize I'm boring, and if you want me to change how I do anything here or what I do, let me know. All right, later guys.